Gavin McKenna is one of the most hyped up prospects we have seen in the last decade. McKenna has been lighting up the WHL as a member of the Medicine Hat Tigers. Now we are waiting to see him suit up for Penn State in the NCAA as one of the very first elite prospects to shift into college from junior. Needless to say, the expectations for McKenna are sky high this season. Many are claiming him to be a generational talent. Considering his pre-draft years being comparable to the likes of Connor McDavid, Connor Bedard, and more franchise forwards, it's easy to see why the excitement is there. The skill is just out of this world, and McKenna has massively produced at every level. So today we have a few questions to answer. First, we're going to figure out just exactly how McKenna makes elite plays like this on a nightly basis, but also how he makes players of the highest level who are often 2 or 3 years older than him look like the beer leaguers you would see at your local rink on a Friday night. And finally, we're going to answer the biggest question of them all. Is Gavin McKenna as good as people say he is? Is he a true generational talent, or is he just another high-end scoring forward? Well, to find this out, we need to look a little bit deeper. Now, if I were to ask you to define Gavin McKenna's play style, what would you say? When a player is this good in junior, it's hard to say exactly where he specializes, because he is ahead of everyone in his class in almost every regard. For me, what stands out more than anything is the way McKenna thinks the game of hockey. It's next level, and the scariest part is that the hands and shot are elite enough to match his brain. Now, this goal against Prince Albert is without a doubt one of the prettiest goals I have ever seen. And although it doesn't show all of the aspects in McKenna's game that make him an elite talent, I had to break it down simply because it is so unbelievably sick. Now, the play starts in the Medicine Hat zone with McKenna picking up the puck. As he breaks out, you'll notice the Tigers nearly have a 2-on-1, but a solid back check makes a pass across risky at best. So while he assesses his options, McKenna begins to realize that he will have a better chance of scoring by going one-on-one with the defender. Once this happens, you'll notice McKenna cut into the middle of the ice while bringing the puck back on his forehand. As the defender is moving to his right, McKenna quickly taps the puck behind his back off of the backhand of his blade. Now, as we freeze here, you'll notice that McKenna potentially has a lane to protect the puck and drive to the net. This is something the defenseman recognizes, and so he quickly tries to move over in order to cut off McKenna's lane to the net. By now, McKenna realizes he can create separation between himself and the defender, who won't be able to stop himself and push out to McKenna in the slot before he can get a shot off. In a quick motion, McKenna quickly hits the brakes as the defender fully commits to his backhand side. He then explodes off his left leg to spin into a shooting position in front of the net. As he does this, he uses a backhand toe drag to set up right in between the hash marks. Since his stop and spin was so sudden, McKenna now has plenty of room to get an uncontested shot off right in the heart of the slot. All that's left to do is finish it off, and McKenna does so with a wicked wrist shot over the glove of the goaltender. Guys, before we go any further, we need to take a quick break to talk about SeatGeek. A huge shout out goes out to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. They take the confusion out of buying tickets, whether it's concerts, NHL games, and so much more, with each ticket being given a score from 0 to 10, 0 being bad and 10 being amazing. They also highlight each tickets in green or red, so you know if you're getting a good deal or a bad deal. And guys, if you use my code sshockey at checkout, you can get $20 off your first purchase. Now, if that sounds good to you, go ahead and check out the link to SeatGeek in the description below, and remember to use my code sshockey online or in the app. Thank you again to SeatGeek, and now back to the video. Now, we've seen what McKenna can do, but let's talk about some of his tools. I want to start with his vision, because it's truly next level. Now, in this clip, we're going to see McKenna's vision at its finest. I also want to mention quickly that his hands aren't the focus of this clip, but my god, are they ever sweet as well. Let's start at the Medicine Hat blue line. Now, McKenna is breaking down the ice in a one-on-one scenario. As he approaches the net, he goes for a toe drag to create a shooting lane, except the defending player plays it extremely well, maintaining a solid gap between McKenna and the net. So instead, McKenna holds onto the puck as he waits for reinforcements. Check out this frame. It's McKenna with his back to the net, no forward momentum, and 4 Regina players surrounding him. You'd think to yourself that there's no way this ends up in the back of the net, and usually you would be right. But this is Gavin McKenna we're talking about. So instead, his teammate finds some open ice on the back door, and by this point, McKenna is completely facing the other direction. There is perhaps no better example of having eyes in the back of your head than this assist. Just as the Pats are collapsing down on him, McKenna makes an unbelievable backhand pass through the traffic and onto his teammate's tape for an easy goal at the side of the net. Everything involved in this play, from the hands to the skating to the vision, are truly special in every way. On this play, we see that patience once again as McKenna is able to dangle his way through traffic before holding up to spot the trailer. Or if we check out this one, we can see McKenna use his agility to quickly separate from the checker before finding a teammate for a tap-in at the top of the crease. Or perhaps we want to watch him finish a play himself. Well, on this clip, we can see those hands in action once again as he turns his defender inside out before absolutely ripping a puck over the glove of the goaltender and into the back of the net. The highlights speak for themselves. McKenna is just so skilled in every facet of the game that he makes it look easy. So now we've answered 2 of our 3 questions, and all that's left is the one that everybody wants to know. Is Gavin McKenna as good as people say he is? Well, let's take a look. Obviously, the expectations we all have for McKenna are subjective, but from what I have seen, the consensus views him as a franchise-altering player. Like I briefly discussed earlier, he is in that same conversation as a prospect that we saw with guys like Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini in recent drafts. I want to look first at McKenna's draft -1 season with Medicine Hat. This past year, he recorded a ridiculous 129 points in just 56 games. In the playoffs, he was just as impressive, getting 38 points in 16 games, en route to a Memorial Cup final appearance. If we compare this to some of the other CHL top prospects in the past 20 years, the numbers are unbelievable. I'm going to show you a chart showing each of the following players' point totals in their draft -1 season. I'll let you guess who is who. Now, the players shown include Connor Bedard, Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, Leon Draisaitl, John Tavares, and Steven Stamkos. Now, without doing the math quickly, guess which X you think belongs to McKenna. If you guessed the spot at the top, you'd be correct. McKenna trails just Sidney Crosby of the names on this list in terms of points scored in their draft -1 season. If that isn't telling of his talent level, I'm not really sure of what is. If we take a look at the Tigers team point leaders from this season, we get another indication that McKenna was absolutely the driving force of the squad. His 129 points led the team with a 26-point gap between himself and Ozise Weisblatt. That being said, McKenna was also 16 years old to start the season, while Weisblatt was an overager. After those two, it was Ryder Ritchie who was third on the team with 61 points. A whopping 68 points separated McKenna from the third leading scorer on Medicine Hat. What's even more wild is the fact that McKenna's 38 points in the playoffs would have actually ranked 9th on the team in the regular season, and 8th if we don't count McKenna's regular season numbers. Obviously, it's too early to deem anything as a guarantee for how Gavin McKenna will turn out in the NHL long term. After all, we're still just talking about a 17-year-old who has another full season to play before he can take the next step in his career at the National League level. This upcoming season in Penn State should show us a lot about Gavin McKenna as a player. Just a couple of seasons ago, we saw Macklin Celebrini dominate the college ranks as a true freshman before he was selected first overall by the San Jose Sharks. We saw how well it turned out for Celebrini, so if McKenna can match or even exceed his results, we can get a great idea of the type of player we're looking at. So now I leave it up to you to answer the question of whether Gavin McKenna is as good as people say he is. If you're like me, you would absolutely say yes. What McKenna has been able to achieve is undeniable, and he has already recorded some of the most impressive CHL seasons that we have ever seen. At this point, it's nearly a guarantee that McKenna will be the first overall selection in the 2026 NHL draft. And although a guy like Keaton Verhoff could make some noise, there should be no question about who the best prospect is in this upcoming draft, or at least not right now. McKenna and Penn State are going to be must-watch hockey this season. Considering many of his fellow elite-level prospects in the CHL have also transitioned to college, this NCAA season should be unlike any that we have ever seen. The competition has never been higher, and McKenna will have to prove that once again, he is in another stratosphere compared to his peers. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you left it a like and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to hype the video down in the comments section to help the channel grow, and let me know your thoughts on the video in the comments below as well. You can also follow SH Hockey on TikTok and Instagram for more short-form content. I'm going to try to be more active on there, so be sure to check it out. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.